Yeah, should be a different game. And with that in mind, let's go to our guest line to bring on our first guest today. He's joining us from down in Greensboro as well. SU assistant coach Alan Griffin on with us. Griff, thanks so much for coming on. How are you today?
I'm doing great. How you guys doing?
We're doing well. So I guess let's start with the weekend. And, we'll get into this matchup. We'll get into Wake Forest. We'll get into this ACC tournament. But first and foremost, what was that weekend like? Friday night and then Saturday with all the pomp and circumstance, the jersey retirement, the 03 team being there, senior day, getting the win, the way you guys played. It seemed like a great weekend for Orange basketball.
Yeah, definitely was a great weekend. It was great having those guys back, and hopefully, our guys kind of was at the event on Friday night, and they drew some inspiration from that team. And they truly was a team, and that's what you can tell by how they interacted with each other on stage. That what they had was special, and they still have it. Melo's played in so many games, so many crazy games in terms of being in the NBA and All-Star games and the Olympics and all that. But you could totally tell when he speak about that 03 team, it holds a special place in his heart, just like all the rest of these guys. So it was great to be a part of that and witness that again. And but as far as the retired jerseys, both guys deserve it. Keem's a class act. Obviously, Jerry's a class act, and they were great players, and they deserved it. So it was great to see that. And then just getting to the win, it was a good win for us. It was a much needed win because obviously going into the game we're losing 3 straight. We needed to play well, and hopefully that builds some momentum for us down here in Greensboro.
Griff, I want to ask you something about that 2003 team and the current team. Did they take anything from the fact, like, there was a funny moment where during the championship game, Coach Boeheim yelled at Melo, like, hey, pass the ball, like he's like, do they take anything like, hey, he did that, he does that to everybody, even Melo was getting it.
Yeah, you know what? I hope so, to be honest, because I think, to the most part, like Coach get a bad rap, especially for, sometimes his style. But when you kind of get through the yelling part, you got to get to the message. And the message is always, majority of the time, the right thing. He's not going to just yell at you just to yell at you, and I think the greatest thing about a guy like Melo, he would laugh it off, but he would get the message, and throughout that season, he was such a great team player. So, you can't be so sensitive, especially when you play for a guy like Coach Boeheim, because he's a very, black and white guy. He doesn't, there's no gray area with him. He'll let you know where he stands.
Griff, along those lines, do you feel like the weekend kind of, rubbed off on the current team? And by that, you said the 03 team, everybody cared about each other and they played together and everybody had each other's back. And did you feel like, the current team played with a little more purpose on Saturday and maybe they were playing for a greater cause, knowing the 03 team was there and not wanting to let them down? And maybe they learned something Friday night from attending that thing?
Yeah, I would say, yeah, maybe. But I think our guys was eager to get back into the winning column. I thought defensively we did some really, really good things that we haven't done, the previous 4 games. And then, you had a great performance what Jesse did. And for us to win against a really good Wake Forest team, with Joe not having the best game, he had a decent game, and Judah not, shooting the high percentage like Judah normally would. For us to win that game, it was good in that way.
You mentioned Jesse's performance. I got to ask you about that. 27 points, 20 rebounds, and to do it on senior night. I mean, it's one of the all-time best senior day performances. I mean, your senior day certainly has to be on that list as well. What got into Jesse on Saturday against Wake?
I really don't know, but I hope he brings it tomorrow afternoon. But yeah, he was a monster on the board. He was active. He was able to get some steals. 5 steals was great. He just was very active on both ends of the court, which, when he's playing that way, it's hard. We're hard out.
Yeah, I mean, and especially the rebounding. I mean, you mentioned that, and we talk about how the defense was improved. That's a big part of defense, right? Is finishing the possession with a rebound, and it's been an issue at times for your team this season. Not on Saturday, but you guys had 27 defensive rebounds, just 9 offensive rebounds for Wake Forest, and Jesse was, the main reason why he was dominant on the glass. But it seemed like as a whole, your team did a much better job rebounding against the Demon Deacons.
Yeah, Malik came in and did some great things. Chris even got in there and got some rebounds. It just was a point of emphasis leading into the game that, we could play the best defense that we can. If we don't finish it with a rebound, it doesn't mean anything. And I thought Saturday we did a great job of closing out possessions with really good rebounding.
I think we would all expect that some adjustments will be made from Saturday to Wednesday. I'm sure you guys are making some tweaks, and Wake Forest is making some tweaks. Are you guys expecting them to, handle Jesse a little bit differently? Do you think they'll try to send a double team, which we really didn't see on Saturday?
Yeah, I think they'll get a little bit more physical with him, but also we did a really good job on Appleby, especially in the first half, and he had 7 turnovers in the first half, and we don't expect him to do that 2 times in a row. So we got to be able to adjust to what he's going to do to attack our defense, and we'll see how they play Jess. If they double team him, then that's going to leave one of our shooters open. So we just got to see what they do and adjust to that.
The All-ACC accolades handed down yesterday. Jesse made 3rd team, All-Defensive team as well, finished 2nd in the voting in terms of Defensive Player of the Year. From where he started, Griff, to where he is now, and you've had a chance to work with him every day. I mean, can you kind of speak to his growth and his progress, that he's made over the course of the last 4 years?
It's been great, and I'm not, he gets a lot of the credit because obviously he got to do it. He got to go to the court and put forth the effort. So, and kudos to Jess, but it's night and day. And I think from where he started from to where we always knew he had talent, but now it's starting to come out. And I said it before, Ryan Cabillas, who's our strength and conditioning coach, he deserves a lot of the credit because he's gotten over the last 2 years has gotten Jesse to a point where he can play for. I would have never thought Jesse could play 40 minutes in a game, and he's been playing 40 minutes. If he can without foul trouble, he's playing 40 minutes, and Ryan gets a lot of credit for that. And him and Jesse got a special relationship. That was the one thing that I did tell Jesse coming in. I said, "Listen, you see that guy right there? That guy got to be your best friend. If you want to achieve great things on the basketball court here at Syracuse, that guy got to be your best friend." And he took that to heart, and him and Ryan got a special relationship, and they've done great things together.
Griff, recruiting's a huge part of being an assistant coach at a basketball team. Is it kind of weird this year? Is there a point where you may be recruiting a kid that's been in the program for 4 years, and how important of a recruit would it be to try and get him back?
Yeah, that's the name of the game now. Just with the transfer portal and the way college basketball is right now, you got to make sure you got to re-recruit your guys every year, which is sad. But again, that's just the nature of it. And yeah, I think all of our guys love playing and love going to school at Syracuse University. I think a lot of the guys that we do recruit, they love Syracuse. They when they come visit, they see us, our staff. They love our staff. They love, the way our players are treated. They obviously, the venue that we play in, it's second to none, and that's why it's a little bit easier for us because guys don't want to leave us.
Griff, we all know the situation this week, right? It's you got to win the four games in 4 days if you want to go to the NCAA tournament. And I feel like I know the answer to this question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. What is the mindset? What is the approach? On the eve of you guys hitting the court tomorrow against Wake Forest, as you look ahead to this ACC tournament.
You always try to stumble me, Steve, but you know the answer.
I do know the answer.
It's one game at a time, know, and again, it's very cliche to say, and I always say it, is that's been our mindset all year, and we're just going to continue doing that, and hopefully, if God willing, we can win 4 games in 4 days. But our mindset is just winning one game at a time.
And I guess, just one thought on the whole bracket, I guess, as a whole, Griff. It does seem like, most years there's a dominant team or two, or there's a favorite, like an overwhelming favorite. It really doesn't seem like it this year. Do you get the sense that, listen, there are a lot of good teams in the conference, but do you get the sense that the ACC tournament is wide open to some degree?
Yeah, definitely. I think anybody can beat anybody in the ACC this year. There's nobody that can't be beaten. So it's going to be a fun tournament, and I'm just looking forward to hopefully staying down in Greensboro as long as possible.
Yeah, and as evidence of that, the odds-on favorite anyway in Vegas is the 4 seed. Duke is considered the odds-on favorite right now. Griff, thanks so much for coming on. Best of luck. Go get them tomorrow, and hopefully you can, as you said, extend that stay down in Greensboro for as long as possible.
All right, thanks, fellas.
All right, Alan Griffin joining us here on the show. And we'll take our first time out. 315-437-7644 is the number if you'd like to check in. We're back after this on ESPN Radio.